Okay, so as you can see from the title, that beginning part of that sentence, you don't have to be, is really a rather open ended start of a sentence. You can add a lot of things at the end of that. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be successful. You don't have to be smart. What are we talking about? I hope you will stay tuned because it's a good one. So let's dive in. So, on the broader scope of this sentence that I started the intro with, you don't have to be, whatever you put in the middle, rich, smart, famous, even, what bookends or finishes that sentence, you can't really complete until you know what the middle part is. So, say for instance, rich. You don't have to be rich to have a loving family. But again, that might apply to a lot of the different examples, but it depends on what you put in there that would really make sense and really make that sentence profound. So, this whole topic and idea for this stemmed from a podcast I was watching, the Whoa That's Good podcast, hosted by Sadie Robertson Huff. Now, I've included clips of hers before in my past videos, but this particular episode, she had her dad on, Willie Robertson, because he had written a book called Gospeller. So he was kind of promoting this. And I have two clips that I want to show you from this podcast. And this first one is a thought that really stemmed this whole video. But Willie was talking about this idea of you don't have to be. And I want to play this for you and unpack it a little bit because I found it rather profound, and hopefully you'll see why once you watch this clip. So let's check this out.
I want to say about that. One is when you were talking about the surgeon, right? We're like, who's the most important person? The surgeon. Which is true. But think about the other things. I was just reading this morning about a good friend of mine who he's a famous guy, and he just had a massive heart attack. And so, but here's the part of the story. So, and he's alive, and the surgeon fixed him and put stents in him and all that. But as I was reading the article, and it said I died twice on the way to the hospital. Now that's all it said. But now think about this. Somebody helped him.
Yeah.
Brought him back to life before he ever got to the surgeon.
Yeah, it's true.
Somebody in an ambulance
Kept him alive.
The person in the ambulance is not living in the 5,000 square foot house and driving the Mercedes, probably like the surgeon.
Yeah.
These are people who are like, know what to do. Now you think about all the people that played into his life before he got there. So sometimes I think we think, well,
we
the
gotta
surgeon,
be the
or maybe
surgeon.
it's the pastor.
We're gonna know it all.
There's so many other people
That's true.
that can play into,
So
and
true.
you can play into someone's life. And the other thing is, as you were saying that, I think probably there's a lot of people that are going to hear this are like, it ain't me, buddy. I'm just not. When I get my life together, maybe I can. When you think about Peter in Acts chapter 2, Peter in Acts chapter 1, turn 2 pages before at the end of the Gospels, and you'll see the very guy who was doing that was the very guy who denied even knowing Jesus.
That's true.
And
That's
now
true.
here he
He's
is
the
stepping
one.
up. It is not that far in time. This is not 10 years
That's
later.
right.
This is in a matter of days or weeks and then Jesus actually showed up to Peter and said, look, I need you to feed my sheep. You get back on task now. And so I think for everybody listening, especially if you're a believer and you're like, man, I'm not the one. I'm just not anybody that should be telling anybody else about anything else. Peter did that, and he did it
Yeah,
fast.
that's so
And
true.
and part of that almost held me back from writing the book, which I write about that when I'm talking about my.
So I just want to wait here for a little bit and just kind of let this sit and sink in, what we just heard. Because what he talked about was his friend that had gone to the hospital, and he died twice before he even got to the hospital. And this idea of you not having to be the doctor that lives in this huge mansion that has this huge income, this really rich doctor, you still know what to do. You still helped save this person's life twice to make it to the doctor. So you might not have the huge degrees, you might not have the big nice house, but you still play a crucial role in somebody's life. And I think too often we try to measure ourselves against somebody else's success. And if we don't have what they have, if we don't have the nice mansion, if we don't have the nice car, if we don't have the white picket fence, then we haven't achieved success. But what is success? How do you define success? Is it the nice things, the flashy things? Is it substance, family, quality time with loved ones, people that truly cheer you on and push you and motivate you to be the best person that you possibly can be? What to you is success? And I just have to say that we probably don't hear it enough. So this is why I wanted to bring this video to you, is you don't have to be that physician that has the nice mansion. You don't have to have multiple figures, multiple zeros in your bank account to define success. If you help others, if you're kind to others, if you take care of your family, your parents, your kids, wherever God has placed you in your life, you take care of that, and you are a good human being that reaches a hand out and helps somebody else up if you're in a position to help, whether that's financially, whether that's just being able to network with somebody else and say, hey, I might not be able to help you, but I know somebody who can help you. And you kind of facilitate that meeting each other and coordinating that. However that looks like, that's, to me, true success. How best of a human being you are. You don't need the mansions, a big house, and not enough people to fill it with. I mean, think about those physicians that you might look to either on social media or just, wow, you really have like this $1 million mansion or this or that, whatever the case may be. You have this private security. You must live a lavish life. And really, they're alone because they don't have a significant other to come home to. They don't have a wife and kids because they're just driven by work. That's how they got to where they're at, because they just constantly work and slave away. So yes, they might be really, really smart in their field and be able to afford that, but at what cost? So if that's how you measure success, perhaps maybe you need to reevaluate your scale. Now, part of this same conversation that they were having, Sadie brought up something else, and I thought this was also just as profound. So going off of the same medical analogy, she kind of brings up something else, and I want to highlight something from this clip. So check this out.
Someone asked me recently, like, what does it look like being raised in your family? I was like, a lot of talking about the Bible, but it's because we all love that. It's because that's what we love and we love to talk about. And I was thinking with the analogy, like we'll bounce back with each other, like different analogies, and half the sermons that I preach, my analogies come from conversations with you and mom. But even in the surgery analogy, think about this. You don't have to be the surgeon, you don't have to be the guy, but you know what you also don't have to be? Because open heart surgery, a lot of times it's a heart transplant. You don't have to be the person that died, because Jesus died to save. So he gives you the new heart. He died so that you can have new life. And we're all scared of dying, but he took that sting away. Like you don't even have to die. He actually offers himself, gives you the new heart. You don't even have to be the guy that stitches out air. You might be the person on the operating table, but 2, you might be the person that just led them to the place to getting that. And so this whole analogy you could think about forever, and it's so good to just dive into. But
I just want to take a moment here and ponder what we just heard Sadie bring up. She says, we don't have to die because Jesus already died for us to give us a new heart. Now, you might be watching thinking, I know this already. I know that Jesus died for us. But I think too often we gloss over that fact. Jesus died for us, yes. But when we put it in terms of a medical procedure and you think about having a heart transplant, that in the medical field is probably the most invasive procedure that you could possibly have, a heart transplant. It involves typically somebody else giving their life and dying so that you could get this new heart and live. Jesus died so that we could have a new heart. Just think about that, how profound that is. So with having that perspective and that outlook, what do we do with this new heart? How do we live our lives now? Do we live it more of the same, living in sin? Or do we live trying to do our best? Though we may fail, because we are still sinners, though we may fail, we strive to do better, strive to be better. How do we live? It's kind of like this heart transplant that we've gotten is a new lease on life, as they say. So what do you do? What do you do? How do you live? You live for him because he died for you. And I think oftentimes too many of us miss that and don't look at how significant, profound, and just tremendous that is. He died for you. He died for me. So what do? We live for him. That's what we do, as best we can. I hope this really gave us a new angle to look at this. You don't have to be, I would say the ultimate thing from all of this is you don't have to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. None of us human beings are perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. 100% genuine you, following him. He will shape you. The things that aren't his will and that are against him, he will shape and mold you and conform you to how he would like you to be, if you will allow it. But all you have to be is willing and open. Let him shape you into who he wants you to be. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this truly did give you a great outlook on this topic. Add what you want to the middle of that sentence. You don't have to be whatever it is. Just know that be you. Don't size yourself up to other flawed human beings in this life, because they'll let you down. When we put other flawed human beings on pedestals, they will let us down. You look to Him, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is the example. He is the one to strive for and to look up to and to want to be like. Not these celebrities. So I thank you guys so much for watching this week. And please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with others. And until next week, you guys stay safe and God bless.